May you find happiness and peace, and may your home stand the test of time.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mary. Today I'll be reacting to another video from Kirk. Today's video is titled Student Hated. We keep a list of woke professor. So without further ado, let's get started.
I just wanted to ask you a couple questions. Yeah, my name's Sumit. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to see you.
I saw that you're coming on campus, and I wanted to talk to you about something real quick, right? So, personally, I'm someone that really values free speech, right, and an uninhibited engagement among people that disagree. And it's really unsettling to me that you have this website, professorwatchlist.org, right?
Yep.
That basically tells conservative students that, hey, these professors are very liberal, and you should avoid them.
It doesn't say avoid them.
The official statement I read said that
Just to expose.
Okay, fine, expose. But even in that, I feel like that colors thought, so that it really teaches conservative people that
Do you think when a professor says something like the hurricane victims of Houston deserve to die because they supported Trump, do you think that professor should be called out for that?
I think, yes, it's important to call them out, but I don't think
So that's what our project does.
Oh, I understand what you're intending to do, right? But how it's received is it's something where it's really, you're coloring their speech to where it's not free speech.
No, but
you're
we're not
telling them
saying
what to do
it's
beforehand.
not Professor Blacklist or Professor Hitlist.
But
We're not saying they should shut up or be fired.
But for example, so this one professor, I think his name was Alberto Ponce.
Okay.
I was reading the list and it said that he was, basically he was saying these things, and he was saying that, oh, the Constitution is a white man's Constitution.
That's a quite radical sentiment.
Sure, it's a radical sentiment, but it's protected by the First
No,
Amendment.
no doubt.
It's something
you and I will agree on,
right?
Yeah, that he has a right to say it.
Right, and
But also, my opinion would be we as conservatives need to signal where that radical ideology is present. And I don't understand, these professors, we're not misquoting them.
yeah. No, I understand
all this
that.
stuff is, we're just making
But
them
would
more
you agree
famous.
that it's taken out of context, though?
But that's not my fault if someone takes something out of context.
But
so if
you're
I says your
providing the
sweatshirt is red,
database.
it's not anyone's fault except the interpreters.
Sure, but you're providing this platform for people to spread this misinformation.
Not necessarily.
You don't think it's a platform where people can spread misinformation?
You could say the same thing about the internet or Twitter or Facebook. It's not incumbent on the person who creates the platform to be responsible for how people interpret it.
Of course, but a lot of times when there are people kind of discussing this thing and they hold a similar view, then it creates something that's akin to blacklist. At least that's how I feel.
Okay.
That it's a lot like, the sentiment reminds me of something like McCarthyism.
So
Where you're creating this list of people.
Well, okay, so first of all, McCarthy never published his list.
Sure.
So we have a list and we're very public about it.
Yeah.
Secondly, McCarthy called for the termination of people. We've never called for any termination of any
Yeah,
professors.
but would you agree that you can incite some degree of violence against those?
No, not necessarily. No, none whatsoever. I mean, the same would be said if a news reporter. By the way, all these professors we have on there were reported on by other news outlets.
Yeah.
So we cited them.
Yeah, I understand.
So
that you
why not be mad at Huffington Post for all their articles they write about?
I guess
professors?
my main question to you is basically with all this, right? My feeling is that it inhibits this free engagement because it tells people beforehand that, hey, this is what that person believes.
I would disagree. I think it encourages more
Let me
speech.
ask. All right, so my question is, how can you guarantee that this is not going to inhibit free speech?
You can never guarantee it, but we're using our right to free speech to encourage more speech.
Are you encouraging more speech, or are you
course.
silencing that speech?
How are we silencing it?
You're silencing it in the sense that you're telling students that,
No,
hey,
we're not.
this person has this preconceived notion, right? So you're giving students this idea that, hey, this professor thinks these things, he believes these things.
So then challenge them
when they
and
take
debate
that
them.
class, they're not going to go into it with this open mind, being these free thinkers. They're going to go into it thinking, hey, this professor has this ideal. I should know that when I
But what's
engage
wrong
with
with
him.
that?
I think the thing that's wrong with that is
Maybe they're more aware.
that's literally antithetical to free speech, would you
No,
say?
it's not.
I think it's important to engage with someone and rationalize their ideas.
Of course,
instead
yeah.
of viewing them beforehand.
So when a professor says something like the hurricane comment, which is a real something the United States press said, or from University of Houston, or when the Georgetown law professor a couple weeks ago said, we want Brett Kavanaugh's family to die. They should be made famous when they say stuff like that.
I don't think they should be made famous,
Really?
because then you're inciting violence against
No,
them.
we're
You're
not. How are we
inciting,
inciting violence?
you're inciting this negative
It's like
sentiment
saying a
towards them,
newspaper
right?
incites violence when they cover anything.
But would you agree with me in saying there's a significant difference between a newspaper that's a public outlet and something like TPUSA and something like this,
we're
where you
citing
have a
all
bunch
of
of
it with
like-minded
news
people,
articles.
right? So I don't know. My feeling is just that it creates this environment where speech is not equal.
I appreciate the sentiment.
Yeah.
You're being so respectful.
And I appreciate you coming here. And it was nice talking to you.
You too, man. Thank
I get where the guy is coming from. Sometimes what you put out there, people might interpret it in another way. But Charlie is letting you know that he's bringing awareness, you see, because if he don't say it, people will keep on doing what they want and get away with it. So he's bringing awareness to the public. So before you say something, be mindful of what you say, because you don't know who is listening, especially the guy that spoke about the hurricane stuff. If Charlie did not say anything like that, or did not have a platform that will kick against what the guy said, he would have said it and get away with it. But by having that platform, is like putting people on check. Before you make a statement, before you say something, you have to be mindful of what you say. And I get what the guy is coming from, thinking that because of that it can instigate violence, but I don't think so. If we are all afraid of violence, then I think all social media would have been taken down, because the owner created a platform for people to communicate, for people to educate each other, you see, for people to kill this burden, you see. But it depends on what you do with those platforms. You're not going to hold the owner accountable, even if the owner have rules, have put in rules and regulation that guide people on what to say and what to do. But he's not to behold how you use the platform. Okay, if you do something contrary to what the platform is being made for, there are sanctions. Let's say you get, let's say, a strike or a warning to correct you from what you're doing. Yeah, newspaper out there read about politics every day, about both the good things politicians are doing, the bad things politicians are doing, and no one is holding them accountable that you are only promoting this and this. No, they are there to report what is happening in the country. So that is their job, that is their duty, and you're not going to tell them that, because you're not going to tell them what to report simply because you feel it's going to hurt the next person or it's going to hurt their ego. No, they are going to say the truth. This is how it is, and they're going to read it the way it is. Because the more you keep on polishing the truth, the more people don't learn from their mistake, because they feel like no matter what I do, they're going to make it look like what I did was perfect. So the more you keep on massaging people's ego, polishing the truth, hiding the truth from them, the more they keep on doing the wrong thing. Sometimes they even do the wrong thing without even knowing. So you pointing it out that, okay, this is what you're doing, this is wrong. And I think Charlie has been saying this about, lecturers for a very long time, talking about these woke lecturers, teaching students what you're not supposed to teach them, and making students do things. You see, while I was still in school, my lecturers make us buy their textbook, and if you don't buy, it's going to affect your grade. It's not supposed to be so, because you want to make money off students. So now you pay them or you give them grades simply because they buy your textbook, even if they don't warrant that grade. But because they bought your textbook, so you give them like 5 mark, maybe 10 mark. And even if someone study and don't buy your textbook, the person is competing for the 5 mark that they could not afford because of maybe financial them not being able to buy your textbook. It's not supposed to be so. It should be a race that everyone should run fairly. And I think that is what Charlie is opening the world eyes to see, letting us know that this is what these lecturers are doing, and we need to put them in check. Anyway, this is a beautiful one coming from Charlie. I enjoyed this, and I want to see more videos like this. If you have any recommendation, let me know in the comment section. If it is the first time visiting the channel, click on the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and remain blessed.